Hey, what's up guys? Tougie here, back again with a fairly impromptu video. I was actually streaming on Twitch and enough people asked me about Raw 25, the 25th anniversary show of WWE Monday Night Raw, and I thought, screw it, why not make a video? I haven't talked wrestling on this channel since last August with SummerSlam and the NXT Takeover that happened on there. I will admit, despite this video being spur of the moment, I'm a little bit self-conscious about two things. Number one, or I shouldn't say self-conscious, I'm a little bit worried about two things. Okay, self-conscious about one. In between streaming and recording this, I let the dog outside. It's snowing. She runs back in all excited, headbutts me right in the goddamn head. So that's a nice little bump. That's working out pretty well. I was gonna say, that's not, you know, I got a little bit of a couple of marks on the face over there. There's a difference between that and this. This is a fucking bump from my dog headbutting me. And as well, the last couple of times I've tried to do videos with, you know, the actual webcam, it hasn't worked out too well. But anyway, let's get down to this. It is going to be very impromptu. I don't know if I'll do any like on-screen overlays to accompany it, just because it is so spur of the moment. And I want to try and get some NHL-related stuff today, done today. So we'll see. I'm leaving all this in the stutters and everything. So what we're going to do, I'm going to talk about Raw 25. I will also give my predictions for NXT TakeOver Philly and the Royal Rumble. So let's get down to business. Can I try to one-take this? Sure, as long as you don't mind me looking at the list of notes right below the webcam. So let's one-take this, shall we? The show kicks off, well, really it kicks off with the video package and JR, good old Jim Ross and Jerry the King Lawler in the Manhattan Center. Is what it is. Cool venue. We'll talk about it more in a minute. The show really kicks off with the McMahons, as of course it did. But Vince, Shane, or Stephanie, at a certain point, Vince gets handed a plaque. It's all funny. Vince was actually really good here. There was a couple of times over the past few years where he had been in the ring, and it wasn't looking good. Especially, like a couple of years ago when he was doing stuff, like he was in the feud with CM Punk, kind of. It wasn't good. It's like he had lost a step. But recently, whether it was last, what was it, August or September, that he got headbutted by Kevin Owens. And here, he looked great, he did really well, and they built up really well to Austin hitting him with the stunner. After that headbutt, of course he was going to take the stunner. Shane sold it like a boss, recreating that whale gif of him spitting the beer. That's a tremendous talent of his. Austin, got one of the big, actually, Austin got the biggest reaction of the night, maybe aside from one other person, but of course he did. And it's almost a shame that this kicked off the show. This should have been the main event. Flat out. This should have been the main event. I think if you swapped this and the main event, it would have been fine. I know why you didn't. Of course, you had to start off the show with the Nostalgia Act, and what better Nostalgia Act to bring back on the 25th anniversary show of Raw than this. But my God, that main event segment sucked. Oh, didn't it suck? But the show started off on a really good note. Don't think it could have started off any better. And it was all downhill from here for the most part, unfortunately. But the opening segment was great. Second match, you had the 8 women's tag match. Let me see if I can remember the names involved without looking at the list. You had Sasha, Bayley, Mickie James, and Asuka against Mandy, Sonya, Nia Jax, and Alicia Fox. God, I miss Noam Dar. God, I need to keep watching ICW again. Now that I think about it. Anyway. They were in the death spot. Whatever had to follow up the Austin segment was going to be the death spot. But there were two ways of thought that I see them having this match here. I guess the hope was to convince people like, hey, we take women seriously now. We care. If you're a nostalgia viewer who hasn't watched in a couple of years, we're doing much better. But there's two train of thoughts there. Either someone who doesn't watch regularly sees this and goes, oh, that's awesome. They're treating women seriously and having a Royal Rumble. That's great. Or someone who watched years ago and are conditioned to expect absolutely nothing from women's matches, don't care, and they just change the channel for a little bit. Even though I don't think Raw was really running up against anything as far as big sporting events goes. I don't know, maybe there was an NBA game on at the time. Regardless, as far as the match result, Sasha gets the tap, which is good. You do want to build up as many credible winners as you can. Even if the Royal Rumble, the Women's Royal Rumble, results in Ronda Rousey winning, you want as many, word here, use your words, think of the right word. You want as many believable winners as you can possibly get. Whether that be Sasha, Nia, Asuka, maybe even Bayley, I've seen some people throw out there. as an outside guess. I don't see that happening anytime soon, but you get the point. So the match itself was a nothing match. Whether or not it was actually effective in helping the build, I don't know. We got our first of many. Fucking hit my wrist on the table. Tremendous. This is great. I'm leaving all this in. We got our first backstage segment to be like, hey, remember all these people? Kurt Angle with, I need to look at the list, Jonathan Coachman. I was at least happy to see him. Harvey Whippleman, Brooklyn Brawler, Teddy Long, Brother Lovin' the Boogeyman. Cool. Glad to see Jonathan Coachman back, especially after getting shit canned at ESPN. And then, oh boy, I don't know if you guys are ready for this. I wasn't. I sure wasn't. I don't even want to talk about it. It just makes me sad. The Undertaker promo in the Manhattan Center. This was the start of a rough night for the Manhattan Center. And you know what? We'll talk about it now, as the vast majority of the show did not take place at the Manhattan Center, which to me is a waste of the venue. I honestly would have preferred the entire show to be at the Manhattan Center. It would have given it that different vibe. I get why you went to Barclays Center. A lot of money you'd be leaving on the table otherwise. So I understand that. But yeah, if I'm one of the people who paid hundreds of dollars to go to the Manhattan Center, I'd feel ripped off. They did get dark matches throughout the night, dark segments, which we'll talk about later. But yeah, not good. JR and King kicked to a video package. Howard frickin' Finkel is heard only once on the show, and it was to introduce The Undertaker for one of the worst promos he's ever cut. The most unnecessary promo he's ever cut. I don't get it. It's the worst use of The Undertaker I think I've ever seen. There was no point in him being on this show. Whether or not it reaffirmed that he's retired, like some people say, I don't know. It was the biggest waste of The Undertaker I've ever seen. I mean, for this to be his first appearance back since WrestleMania when he laid down the gloves, and of course he wasn't even wearing the gloves, which was a really nice touch. That was the best part of the segment. He didn't do anything. He didn't say anything. It almost left you thinking he's going to appear later in the night. No, nothing. Nothing happened. So disappointing. Was I expecting a major angle? Maybe, maybe not, especially with the rumors of a John Cena match potentially being out there. It would have been nice. It would have been better than this. If this is all they had for him, why have him appear on the show? It's very different between having an APA and a Ted DiBiase on the show. This is the Undertaker we're just talking about, who basically just retired, and he comes out saying, you know, I beat a bunch of people, rest in peace. See you later, folks. Like, what the... Why? I could ramble and rant about this all night. So dumb. Such a waste. Speaking of the APA, one of their many backstage segments, Ted DiBiase shows up, lays money on the table, cackles, tremendous stuff. Heath Slater was great in all of these segments. Fan of Heath Slater. It was pretty damn sweet. We get the parade, one of many. We get the parade of Raw GMs. John Laurinaitis, William Regal, which I was very happy about, and Eric Bischoff. And that was it. That was it. I mean, really, how many more are you going to bring out, I suppose? And then Daniel Bryan comes out because, yeah. I mean, it would have made sense, right? And I get why she wasn't there, obviously. It would have made sense for AJ Lee to come out, who was a former Raw GM, and then you have Daniel Bryan come out, because then it's like, hey, here's the SmackDown GM, but remember when that was a thing? I mean, they talk about it all the goddamn time, specifically, you know, Sheamus booting his head off at WrestleMania 28. So Daniel Bryan comes out, and then William Regal and Eric Bischoff do the yes chant, and it's just to see Eric Bischoff doing the yes chant, my soul died a little bit. Only a little bit, though. Miz comes out, interrupts, of course, goes down to the ring for his match. They tease Bryan and Miz again, because there's sure going to be a payoff to that, isn't there? Hopefully. This leads to the Miz and Roman Reigns. I don't know what I'm supposed to say. It's a meh match. This is your typical Raw main event match. It's good. It's not great. It's not bad. Miz wins the title with cheating shenanigans. Hooray. I guess we're supposed to, I mean, for people who don't like Roman, whatever. I don't mind him. He's great at what he does. I just don't give a shit about the character, if you can even say he has one. He loses the belt before the Rumble, so that's going to freak people out. Although, who's to say he wouldn't have won the Rumble on Sunday while still having the title? Easily could have happened. I don't know. It's a nothing match. Who cares? The IC title, it's just, I don't care. Who cares? It's just, oh, okay, well, Roman's not in the title picture. Give him the belt. Win it from The Miz, and then Miz wins it back, who is on pace. He's one reign now behind Jericho for the most of all time. So he's going to tie that and probably break it. So good for The Miz. He gets a belt back that he never should have lost. I mean, I know we had to go film the Marine 6 or whatever, but who cares? I don't know. It wasn't anything great. Allow me to scroll so we don't have to make a jump cut. The APA. Oh, boy. Are you ready for bad segment number however? I have a counter at the end of the list. We'll get to it. The APA are backstage playing poker with two people who don't get the, here, let's pan the camera. Hey, it's that guy. No, they don't get that. It's just MVP and Jeff fucking Hardy. You know, Jeff Hardy, who's been injured for a while, and that's why they're like, okay, let's do the woken broken mat thing because we've got nothing else to do. Just Jeff Hardy chilling out, playing poker with the APA and MVP. Really? That's going to be his first appearance back. Nothing important. Just playing poker. Come on now. Like, I mean, come on. Speaking of Matt Hardy, and in all honesty, I don't remember the exact rundown of this show. I don't think I've forgotten anything so far, but I don't remember where this match was placed, and I don't feel like looking it up because that's more effort than this match deserves. Back to the Manhattan Center. So good for them. They actually got another match, one of two matches on the night that was actually aired on the show. Can you imagine? God, cue the picture of JR and King falling asleep at ringside. I don't think I'll do that, but still, look it up. It's a great picture. Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy have a match in the Manhattan Center. Who cares? Nothing match. Commercial break. Bray wins. Matt loses already. Just because. Nothing match. One of the many why segments on this show, as I like to call it. I don't get the point. I don't get the point. Why do you have Matt lose? Why? Why do you have this match here? It was like 4 minutes. Fucking why? We do get to a highlight, though. We do. Christian and the Peep Show. Who doesn't love Christian? Who doesn't love a good Peep Show? Phrasing. There was a decent enough segment, continuing the feud between the Bar and Rollins and Jason Jordan. Jason Jordan. I mean, thank God there's at least a reason to care about this guy. He's getting great reactions. I mean, as compared to where he was, where, hey, I'm going to throw vegetables at Elias and nobody gave a shit. He's getting one of the better reactions on the show now. So that was tremendous to see him get that kind of heat. I'm actually kind of looking forward to the rematch there. So we'll see how that goes. But bravo to Jason Jordan. They have managed to kind of recover from the whole Angle's my dad, Kurt's my dad deal. I still hope the payoff to that is that he was lying, and then he's an even bigger heel. Aside from just being, the arrogant heel who expects to be cheered and also, complains to his dad all the time. If they do go through with the he lied, even more heel heat, and they escape that terrible, terrible storyline. So let's hope for Jason Jordan's sake that happens. Of course, like I said, I haven't done too many wrestling videos. Breaking up American Alpha was stupid as hell, but that's way, way in the past. Alexa Bliss is backstage. She's interrupted by Charlotte and Ric Flair. Obligatory woo. Obligatory woo. But boy, look at this segment and tell me which person you think is the main woman on the roster. Poor Alexa. She never stood a chance. Never stood a chance. Just Charlotte interrupts, talks down to her, bring in Rick, he woos, the end. Alexa just stands there, looking like an idiot. That's one of your women's champs, who is coming off of a loss to Charlotte at Survivor Series. Just where's that shovel? Anyway, next up, our second parade, the Parade of Women. As we get the Bellas, a pregnant Maurice, Kelly. Hey, she's finally back, guys. Maybe she'll appear in the Rumble. Still looks great. Lillian Garcia still looks great. Jacqueline, Hall of Famer. Tori Wilson. I mean, God. Let's be honest here. 15 out of 10 still. Good God. Mrs. Taker, Michelle McCool. Terry Runnels is back. Would have been cool to kind of, I know their relationship went sour, but she was dressed up in the Marlena garb. Why not kind of hint like, hey, remember her and Goldust? Hey, anything? No. And Trish. Oh, no, wait. Pregnant Maria Kanellis. And then Trish. No Lita, which she was claiming on Twitter, I wasn't invited. Bullshit. Everyone expects you to be at the Rumble, so what's the best thing to do? Don't appear on Monday, and then you're like, oh, I don't know, I wasn't invited, and then you show up at the Rumble. Unless she doesn't show up at the Rumble, in which case, what the fuck? But she probably will. That's my guess. Then, oh baby, we get to, I mean, along with this, there are very few segments in my good portion of the show. Back-to-back Elias segments. I will tell you right now. Big fan of Elias. Big fan. Tremendous. This first backstage segment. Oh, God. With Chris frickin' Jericho, the Alpha himself, wearing his own Alpha Club shirt. I mean, it was tremendous. I mean, yeah, obviously put into a different light. They didn't make him like a focal point. They didn't really make any flashback guy a focal point. But it makes sense. You know, Jericho gets the list shtick in, which was great. I mean, it was great. That's all I can say. I can just sit here and, you know, just keep verbally blowing how great this segment was. One of the best segments on the show. Obviously great to see Jericho after the New Japan Wrestle Kingdom appearance. Obviously he's going to be going back at some point. Whether or not he has that match with Naito at one of the US shows, I imagine that will be the case. Whether or not that's the March show, which probably will be, or maybe later on in the summer, don't know. I imagine it'll be the March show, though I don't think they'll wait for that long. Still, intrigued to see how that goes. Jericho was great here. Elias was great. And then, this is why this was so great. Because I was a little bit disappointed. I'm like, oh, really? That's it for Elias? Or that's it for Jericho? Really? You couldn't have done that in ring to get the even bigger pop? No. Instead, Elias goes down to the ring and entertains me for a solid 5 minutes before he's interrupted by John Cena. And I'm like, oh, great. You didn't. Was it New Year's Raw or Christmas Raw where they had their match and Cena won, which was fine because Elias looked good. I think it was New Year's. But I'm just like, oh, God, here we go again. And not enough happened. But no. No, Cena starts to get the better of Elias, and Elias hits him with a low blow, lays him out with the guitar. I fucking love Elias. He is tremendous. He gets his heat back on Cena. If this leads to a match, I'm cool with it. Even if it doesn't, Elias has recovered from, I mean, really, he didn't take that much damage from losing to Cena. He looked great in that match, and then this happens. So the more the hype train from WWE is behind Elias, the more I am in favor of this. He is tremendous. Absolutely tremendous. We get the APA backstage again. Heath is accused of cheating, and it sets up a match that we'll talk about in a minute, even though I don't want to. DiBiase wins because money. WWE's, I mean, granted, he was Mr. Krabs before Mr. Krabs, but you get the point. Still love him, though. Heath was still great. We get a backstage segment. And again, this is another one where I'm not sure about the placement. Mark Henry and the Godfather. Godfather has a hot wife. I don't even know if that's his wife. Who cares? If it is, hey, good for you, buddy. And Mark Henry, you know, he just retired, quote unquote, recently. And sexual chocolate. Hooray. Like, out of all the kind of, hey, remember these two segments, this was kind of the weakest one, unfortunately. Speaking of weak segments, we get Titus Worldwide, who actually, I'm not against them, and Heath Slater and Rhino. You know, at least my favorite part of this match, and like I've mentioned, I follow WWE. I've followed WWE since I was 3 years old. My parents were fans. It's a habit that I just can't kick. For me as a kid, it was wrestling, hockey, and video games. Still a fan of all three. Imagine I always will be. I still get a kick, despite the fact not watching Raw and SmackDown and never noticing this. The fact that Heath Slater, the ramp for his entrance, turns to an above ground, an underground pool. It turns into a pool. It's funny. It's very funny. This match, though, was not funny. This match was just absolutely nothing. They've been putting a little bit of steam behind Titus Worldwide lately. Yeah, and then this match was nothing. You get the double DQ. Dudley's come out, beat the shit out of Heath in the end, because Heath is just the go-to guy to take spots like this. However, we're not done talking about Heath Slater and Rhino just yet. We will talk about them later on. I was going to say after this, but no, I got something else before I get to this. AJ Styles with Mean Gene Okerlund. Also, I love the Dudleys. It was good to see them. But why weren't they in the Manhattan Center? Really? The Dudleys. And you didn't put them in the Manhattan Center. Allow me. Really? AJ Styles cuts a promo with Mean Gene Okerlund. It was good. It was good. AJ goes all Hulkster because, you know, you weren't going to actually bring Hulk Hogan in because he said some naughty things and then beat Gawker in a lawsuit. So way to go, Hulkster. Brother, vitamins, prayers. Mean Gene, still kicking around. Still witty. Good to see him as always. we get to, I mean, God, the one I have the most notes on. We get to DX at the Manhattan Center. Oh my God, something else for the Manhattan Center. They had the Taker promo, and they had Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy. Well worth the money. This didn't really help, in my opinion. And I don't really blame the fans again for being aggravated. Although, after this, or I believe before this segment, after The Miz won the IC title, he went over there and bragged, which is important for what I'm going to mention in a minute. And at the end of the show, Ric Flair also drove over from Barclays Center to the Manhattan Center to just kind of make an appearance, because boy, weren't people pissed. Anyway, this segment, Triple H and Shawn come out. Triple H mentions, he mentions Rick Rude and Chyna, gets a good reaction, as they should. Out come the Outlaws, Billy Gunn and Road Dogg. Nice to see Billy Gunn, by the way, after he got fired not that long back. X-Pac comes out, gets a great reaction, as he should, gets 1, 2, 3 chance. He introduces Scott Hall because Kevin Nash had knee surgery, knee replacement, I believe, and couldn't make it. So out comes Razor Ramon. He's coming. Here he is. Commercial break. Commercial break. The show is 3 goddamn hours, and we can't time the show out properly for USA Network to not have to take a commercial break during Razor Ramon's fucking entrance. What's the matter with you? We get back from commercial. They're cutting promos. Out comes Balor Club, which now's a really good time to realize I left my alerts on with no BS. I can't wait to see my reaction for that. I'm leaving all this in. That just makes the video even better. Now is, I wonder who that was. Do I have a list? I don't even know why my alerts are still on for Twitch. That's tremendous. Scared the shit out of me. Whoever that was, I am recording this at 8:11 in the morning on Tuesday. Whoever that was that just followed this, I hope you watch the YouTube side of things. Shout out to you. Anyway, Balor Club comes out. I was starting to worry that they weren't going to appear. I mentioned that to a buddy of mine. He's like, nah, DX segment. He was right. He called it. And, you know, you're expecting them to be heels. Except this turned into our fuck the Young Bucks moment of the week, as I like to call it. As it's all, hey, too sweet, everybody's happy. Which is fine, because to nostalgia fans, hey, here's Finn Balor. He's cool. DX likes him. Even though they're supposed to be heels and have been acting like heels lately. And then out come the Revival. Impromptu match. Gallows and Gunn beat the Revival. And then the Revival take everyone's finisher and look like morons. Here's the thing. I get the purpose. Of, you know, Finn Balor and the Balor Club essentially getting the rub from DX. I get that. I get that you needed somebody to lose here. Why the Revival, who just came back recently? Why? You cannot tell me you couldn't have just thrown... This could have been... I get you had the running shtick with Titus Worldwide from the APA segment. That really just could have been continually built up to DiBiase winning and Farouk, Ron Simmons, you know, doing the whole damn thing. That could have been the sole buildup. You didn't need a tag match to come out of that. I get you needed something for the Dudleys to do. There was a way to get there. There's no reason as to, in my mind, here's what whatever, fantasy booking 101. Have Kurt Hawkins out in the ring. He appeared on this show in the main event segment, which is tremendous. Have Kurt Hawkins come out in Barclays Center, mind you, and start talking garbage about how he can beat anyone. Hell, I can beat 2 people. Out come the Dudleys. They put him through tables. That crowd's much happier. Much happier. Then for this main event segment, have Titus Worldwide be the ones that get taken out by Gallows and Gunn, because in front of that crowd, especially after the whole, hey, DX, how you doing deal, Gallows and Anderson wouldn't have been booed. So you accomplish what you accomplish. Have somebody take the moves. Don't have it be the Revival. You just brought them back. Hell, even better. This is actually what I originally had on the script. The Miz. He wins the IC title, right? He's going to the Manhattan Center anyway to try and cheer those damn people up. Have him come out during the whole DX and Balor Club deal. He comes out, he's bragging with the title. Of course, the Miz Taraj is there. Plus, I love Curtis Axel, so it's great. I love Bo Dallas, too. They're out there bragging. And, you know, Gallows and Gunn go to attack or whatever. Just start the match. Have it be Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel. Miz hightails it. Have those two, because you treat them like jobbers anyway. Whatever. Have it be Axel and Dallas that get the shit kicked out of them. Not the Revival. It makes no sense whatsoever. So along with just the completely nonsensical, pointless Undertaker promo, this was arguably my least favorite moment of the entire night. And it should have been fine, because cool, DX, even though we've seen the reunions plenty of times, whatever, kind of over it, but still, it's good. I mean, I don't know, we don't see X-Pac as much with that group. But, you know, that was fine. I still love seeing Razor Ramon because, god damn it, there was a wild few years back where it's like, he's not making it to 2018. So it was great to see him. It's one of my favorites of all time. People ask me on Twitch all the time, favorite wrestlers? He's one I leave off the list often, but he's up there. Absolutely. But just having it be the Revival in the spot makes no sense. Makes no sense. There are other ways to get around it. Like I said, specifically with The Miz, there would have been other ways to get around it. And then you would have reaffirmed, like, hey, remember The Miz just won? And now he's out here bragging? And then he escapes. Dallas and Axel, you know, take all the moves, and it's fine. But that didn't happen. For that, I'm incredibly sad. And unfortunately, the down note continues as we get to the main event segment. We have Braun, Brock, and Kane. Angle brings everyone out to help stop them from fighting. Great job there, bud. What was the point? The segment was incredibly short. I don't know who this could have sold on the Rumble, because Kane, I mean, okay, so right, Braun, Kane are out. You know, Heyman cuts a great promo as always. Brock comes out, they schmoz. Kane eats one F5, and then that's it. See you later. Braun power slams Brock through the table. The end. Who is that going to sell on this match? I mean, really. Kane looks like an afterthought because, hey, I love Kane. I do. 97 through 2003, he was my guy. He unmasked. Even then, he was a bit younger, but even then, still liked him when he was beating the shit out of Shane and Rob Van Dam. I'd really say up until Taker came back at WrestleMania 20 was when I'm like, you know, I'm kind of chilled out on Kane, because then they got into the whole feuding with nobody deal. Well, actually, through 04, who was Kane feuding with? I remember he fought Shawn Michaels towards the end of 2005, and I'm forgiven. Who was he up against in 04? I don't even remember. What did Kane do post WrestleMania 20? This is important. I think he had a match against Edge for the IC title. Don't remember what the hell he did at SummerSlam. Regardless, he kind of started getting wasted from that point on. He had the whole Matt Hardy deal. He had the Snitsky feud, punting babies. That's always fun, I guess. Boy, whoever doesn't get that reference, they are not going to think highly of me, huh? Anyway, we all know why Kane's here. He's here to take the fall. Let's be honest, whether it's Braun or Brock, Brock's gonna win. This way, Braun's in the main event, doesn't have to take the fall. Brock gets the win, faces Roman at Mania, and loses, as we all predicted. Please, WWE, prove me wrong. Give me something different other than that. Yeah, this segment sucked. Who cares? It was nothing. Absolutely nothing. Kane takes one F5, is down. Brock gets put through the announce table. How many times have we seen Braun put Brock through the announce table already? Who cares? We know how the match is going to go. Prove me wrong, WWE. If so, it was just nothing. It was nothing. And a really shit way to end the show. And as I get down to my breakdown, I have 5 good moments, 9 meh moments, and 7 outright bad moments. The good moments: the opener with Stone Cold, the Peep Show with Jason Jordan and The Bar, Elias' segments with Jericho and Cena, and during one of the in-between, once they got back from commercials, they'd be like, hey, here's a bunch of pictures from the past. One of the pictures was CM Punk during the Pipe Bomb promo, and it got a tremendous reaction. Rightfully so. There you go, though. CM Punk's last appearance on Raw ever, unless you believe in Never Say Never. Smart of them to put him up there, though. Would I expect to see him back anytime soon? Maybe 10 years from now. It might be a Bruno Sammartino thing. He might be 70 years old before we see it happen. We'll see. As far as the meh, and some of these, it's, you know, they can't be classified as good, they can't be classified as bad. Just meh, decent level stuff. The women's tag, the first angle segment with the Boogeyman, APA backstage with DiBiase, the Raw GM parade, Miz versus Roman, Bliss and Charlotte in the backstage segment, the parade of women. Had to do that again. APA and DiBiase winning the deal, and AJ and Mean Gene. It was just all right. It wasn't, you know, Elias levels with Jericho, or even Peep Show level. I really feel like the Peep Show level, as far as current product, it was just Elias who looked good, and Jason Jordan and Seth Rollins, the whole tag title feud. That's it. Nothing else looked great. And then we get to the bad. Taker promo, Jeff and MVP, Jeff Hardy and MVP just showing up. The Bray Wyatt Matt Hardy match. Henry and the Godfather was the most pointless segment on the show, aside from Taker. Slater and Rhino against Titus Worldwide, for the reasons I pointed out, as far as that could have been different, just options. It was all right, I guess. DX and Balor, simply because of the revival stuff, and the main event segment. It was all right. It was all right. They have had other reunion shows that I enjoyed much more. They had the Raw Homecoming show when WWE moved back to the USA Network from Spike TV back in 2005. They went back to USA. They had a special 3-hour Raw. That was tremendous. They did the 20th anniversary of Raw show. They did Raw 1000 back in 2012. That's where CM Punk attacked The Rock, setting up their match eventually at the Royal Rumble. That was great. I believe that's also where AJ Lee, to mention her again, was first named Raw GM. That was more exciting. There were just too many down moments. The good moments were really good, but that's not enough to say that this was a great show. And really, when a reunion show can't make me think like, oh, I'm going to check this show out next week. Like, at least with Raw after Mania, I typically end it by thinking, okay, I'm at least going to check out Raw next week and I'll watch the whole thing. How long that lasts? Typically not very long. But this, I mean, I'll keep an eye on Raw because it's post-Rumble, unless the Rumble goes poorly. But yeah, I can't say in hindsight that I wouldn't have. I mean, I don't regret watching it. There was certainly some DVR-worthy, fast-forward-worthy material. Now, quickly, because we're over a half an hour into this baby, the NXT TakeOver Philly card and the Royal Rumble card. My predictions for those. NXT TakeOver, as it stands, only 4 matches announced. We have the Undisputed Era, Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly, the current NXT Tag Team Champions, against the Authors of Pain. I mean, I fully expect the Undisputed Era to retain. I don't really see why they wouldn't. If you want to hand the belts to the Authors of Pain and then have there be a blow-off match between these two groups and Sanity at the Mania weekend takeover, that I understand. It's just really a matter of when are they going to call up the Authors of Pain. Is it going to be very soon for the Mania build in a tag division? Which, I don't know how much sense that makes, I guess. Both tag titles are kind of in a decent spot right now. Or is it going to be post-Mania? If it's going to be post-Mania, I could see them putting the belts on the Authors of Pain, or we get that triple threat tag team match anyway, with Fish and O'Reilly, the Authors of Pain, and 2 members of Sanity. Couldn't hold off that burp, I apologize. The women's title, Ember Moon and Shayna Baszler. Now, I don't know. They have been booking Shayna Baszler like a killer. It's probably too early for her, considering she's only like, what, 2 years into this, to get the women's title. That, again, considering who might win the Royal Rumble, is that really saying that much? I still think it's going to be a great match. It would kind of suck for Ember Moon to have finally gotten the belt, granted only because they called Asuka up. She finally gets the belt and loses in her first big defense. That would kind of suck, but I can see it happening. Maybe we see some kind of schmoz finish, although it's not typically something they do to lead up to Mania weekend. Perhaps they're already thinking of calling Ember Moon up, especially with the amount of women coming into the company. Candice LeRae was just finally signed as well. So maybe we get just the next form of dominant women's champion already. Maybe Shayna wins. They have a rematch at Mania weekend takeover. Shayna wins again. Ember Moon gets called up. Could happen. Ember Moon is definitely good enough for the main roster right now. So different ways this could go. I am going to say Ember Moon retains, maybe by disqualification. I don't think they'll switch the belt just yet, but if Baszler wins, I think Raw after we see Ember Moon on Raw. So we'll see. I'm going to go with Ember retaining the title. Aleister Black and Adam Cole, Extreme Rules. Now, my opinion on this match, as far as how the outcome is going to be, it is really intertwined with the main event, the world title match, or just the NXT title match. I don't see Aleister Black losing here, because in the main event, I don't see Johnny Gargano beating Andrade. Almost I said Andreas. That's not right. Cien La Sombra, as I prefer to call him, but what can you do? I don't see Almas losing the belt already, because if Adam Cole wins, he's not going against Gargano. It doesn't make sense. We all know Ciampa's basically ready. Ciampa, it has to be that way. Unless they are somehow holding off Ciampa for, like, there's no way they can wait for the SummerSlam takeover. They already missed that window. Ciampa is ready. There's no way he isn't, and there's no way he won't be ready by April. So it doesn't make sense. Much like, think of WrestleMania last year, Goldberg and Lesnar. That didn't need the title. It had the title, it didn't need it. You look at Gargano Ciampa, that doesn't need the title, and I don't think it'll be the title picture. So I think Gargano gets close. Ciampa, predictably but amazingly, will cost him the title to continue that feud into Mania. And my God, if that match better be the main event, even over the title match of Takeover, the WrestleMania Takeover in, Jesus, where is Mania? New Orleans. New Orleans. That better be the main event. So I think Aleister Black wins here, and at the Mania Takeover, we get Aleister Black against Almas, potentially throwing Adam Cole into the mix. I don't think that just because Aleister Black wins here that Adam Cole is out of the title picture. I could easily see them doing a triple threat to give them options on what they want to do. So again, I don't see Gargano winning. I see him and Ciampa at TakeOver New Orleans. The title picture, though, the NXT title picture at TakeOver New Orleans, I see it being, because I really don't see who else Adam Cole would go up against, that you would want him to... I mean, Adam Cole, if he's going to lose here, you would prefer him to win, because you know heading into SummerSlam, SummerSlam weekend at least, that he's going to be the guy in that NXT title picture. It could even be sooner than that, though. I mean, maybe you'd put him up against Killian Dane. I don't really see how that would work out, though. Just because Killian Dane's riding high after the TakeOver War Games match. So, in my mind, at TakeOver New Orleans, we get Almas, Aleister Black, and Adam Cole in a triple threat. That gives you options. This way, too, Almas doesn't lose the belt after first winning it. This way, I see us getting either Aleister Black as champion, and it's a way to keep Adam Cole in the picture. Either Aleister Black wins, which, hey, I'm all for it, and then he'll lose at SummerSlam, probably to Adam Cole, and get called up. Or, basically, Aleister Black doesn't win and gets called up for Raw after, which it's not too soon to do that. It just depends on if you want to give him a run with the NXT title, which I imagine they do, which I'm thinking, again, Aleister Black will win the belt at TakeOver New Orleans and then lose it SummerSlam weekend, Adam Cole. Or Aleister Black is getting called up right after Mania, as I mentioned, in which case Adam Cole would then probably pin Almas. You can spin that off into a rematch. So there are a couple of different ways it could go. Bottom line is, for this TakeOver card in Philly, I see Aleister Black beating Adam Cole. Cole will recover quickly, whether having another match or being inserted into a triple threat match for the Belt Mania weekend. And Almas retains against Gargano. Potentially clean in a hard-fought match, just to kind of swerve people a little bit. Or, as expected, Tommaso Ciampa costs him the match. Either way, I'm cool with it. I really don't feel as though that much momentum is going to be lost between Gargano and Ciampa. I still think by the time we get to Mania weekend, that is going to be one of the best matches of the weekend. I think it's going to have one of the hottest crowds for that particular weekend. We are almost 40 minutes into this. This is why I don't talk wrestling. Because holy shit, can I rant for days. So getting to the Rumble, and I'm going to need help with the card here too. SmackDown Tag Title match, Usos against Gable and Benjamin. I don't know. let's go with the Usos. I want them to have a long title run. I don't want them to lose to this put-together team. I want the Usos to hold on to the belts for a bit. Although, who was it? Was it Jay or Jimmy that got arrested for DUI? Will that cost them the tag titles? We'll see. Was there not a cruiserweight? I know what happened with Enzo, right? I'll just say this. If he did it, fucking kick him to the can. Although, Squared Circle on Reddit there were a couple of threads where maybe there's some reason to doubt. I'm not saying at all, though, that I am doubting the accuser. In this instance, we will wait and see. Right move on WWE's part to suspend Enzo Amore, though, but I thought the Cruiserweight title match was at the Rumble. I don't see it listed. So we go to Rollins and Jordan defending against The Bar. I don't know with this one, man. I'm going to go with them retaining the title. I don't know, like I said, because I don't know what they're going to do with Jordan. I don't know if they're going to spin it off into even like Jordan versus Kurt Angle at Mania. So I'm going to just assume that they hold on to the belts here, and they'll probably lose them on a random Raw leading up to what is hopefully that inevitable match. Although I know, maybe more than likely we get Kurt and Triple H, but I still think Jason Jordan will be a part of that. It's too early, though, to really go into that spin. So I'm going to say that Rollins and Jordan retain, especially because Seth is a little bit directionless. I mean, even if they lose the belts, I don't see Seth winning the Rumble. That would be a really surprise and outside guess, but obviously with expecting, Brock and Roman, that's not going to happen. So they're going to keep the belts, is my point. Not keeping the belt, though, at least my guess, AJ Styles against Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. I'm going to say AJ loses here, but this is not the last time we'll see him. All right? That is my guess. AJ loses. As far as who gets the belt or whatever, they'll have that whole storyline to sort it out. I am going to say, though, that AJ loses because I'm a hopeful, dirty smark. Moving on to the Women's Royal Rumble match, Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey. It's going to happen. I'm personally okay with it. Say what you want about it. Should go to a woman on the roster who has earned it. That's not how they think. That's not how they operate. As is, that's not even how the UFC operates. They don't give a shit either. So I don't know. As far as booking goes with that, the UFC, I mean, they don't give a shit either. Let me just rant on this for a second. Daniel Cormier is going to go up to heavyweight to fight Stipe. If Cormier wins, he's going to drop the belt so that he doesn't have to fight Cain Velasquez. UFC doesn't care about belts. Boxing doesn't care about belts. WWE doesn't care about belts. It is what it is. They don't care. It's all about the big moment and grabbing the headlines. For that reason, Ronda Rousey is going to win. If not, Asuka. I'm going with Ronda, though. Especially, too, I forgot to mention this during the tag match. Asuka got the visual win by throwing everyone over the top rope, which is typically not a good sign. Typically not a good sign. So I'm saying Ronda is going to win that. Lesnar against Strowman and Kane. Brock wins by pinning Kane. The end. Now we get to the Men's Royal Rumble match, and this is why I mentioned we wouldn't be seeing AJ for the last time. I think the predictable win, I'm leaving that in, the predictable outcome is Roman winning, which is why I don't think that'll be the case. I think AJ Styles is going to win the Royal Rumble. Did I just think of this while I was getting ready to make this video? Yes. Styles loses. He wins the Rumble. He looks great because of course he will. There have been some, obviously like Roman, even Baron Corbin's name has been thrown out there. I think that AJ wins the Rumble. Someone was saying that Corbin, I think, was on the advertising for Elimination Chamber. It doesn't matter. You could have the belt be defended in the Elimination Chamber if you want. You could have AJ put his title shot on the line inside the Elimination Chamber and win, and he looks even better. And then he beats Owens and maybe even Zayn as well in a rematch at Mania. I see this as a great way to build up AJ Styles even more, as if he needs it. But the alternatives, it's not going to Nakamura. There's no way. As much, and here's the thing, though. At Elimination Chamber, I wanted to say Fastlane, with that being the Raw event. At Elimination Chamber, you could even have AJ, you could have AJ win the Rumble or whatever else. You could have, I don't know. I was trying to think like, oh, I know, AJ and Nakamura at WrestleMania would be tremendous. In that case, Nakamura wins the Rumble. AJ wins or loses here, gets the rematch regardless, and comes out of Elimination Chamber's champion, and you have that match. That's another type of match that it really doesn't need the title shot. So, I don't know. Maybe we see AJ win. They do the rematch. AJ loses at Fastlane. Corbin wins the Rumble. So then it's Corbin and Owens, I guess? Like, you never know. I still think that's why I came to the conclusion that AJ is going to win. Maybe he defends, just because someone's on the advertising doesn't mean that they're going to have success or be in a very prominent role at that event. But there are ways I could see them clearly getting to AJ versus Nakamura or AJ versus Owens and Zayn yet again. My pick, though, I am going to go with AJ Styles winning the Royal Rumble because I think it's way too predictable for Roman Reigns to win the Royal Rumble. We are 45 minutes into this. Give me a break. If you're still listening at this point, you don't care about me misspeaking. I think Roman will earn a title shot at Fastlane. That is my guess. Who he beats? I don't know. Maybe he beats Strowman again for like the second straight year at Fastlane, I believe. Because why the hell not? Or was that at the Rumble? Don't remember. Don't care. Those are my predictions. The Women's Royal Rumble goes to Ronda Rousey. The Men's Royal Rumble goes to AJ Styles. Will that happen? Neither will happen. It'll be Baron Corbin and Asuka. Or Roman and Asuka. Because why the hell not? Guys, I'm not going to spend too much time continuing on here. We're good to go. If you made it through this, hey, I appreciate it. Let me know down in the comments below as well. Number one, what you think will happen. But number two, as far as wrestling-related videos go, I'll try to make them a bit more timely. If anything, treat this as a podcast, I guess. But after the Royal Rumble and NXT TakeOver, I'm sure I'll be making videos about those. Those will be much more condensed. Absolutely. And yeah, so be heading through the new year. What do you guys think? Should I talk wrestling a bit more? Clearly, as you can tell by this video, I am more than all right with doing so. Hope you enjoyed. Have a good one, guys. Take it easy. I'll catch you next time.